Top Gun Maverick is still rolling in the theaters, but today, on August 23rd, Tuesday, it hits premium video on demand streaming. We're going to talk about that and the $100+ million payday. Yes, we have an update to the previous video of the $50 million payday now that we have these new numbers in several weeks later and we have seen the popularity of this film. Stay tuned. Let's get into it. Renegade Online. Well, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see everybody out there once again. And if you are like one of the many folks watching this video who are not yet subscribed, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button, turn it from red to gray, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please leave a comment below the video before you head out the door today. I always love to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions on some of these topics that we discuss here. And Top Gun has been one of our favorites. I've seen the movie a number of times in the theaters, but let's look at the box office performance of this, and we'll talk about how Tom Cruise got to this point and the PVOD release today that you can find on Apple iTunes and Amazon Prime. So following the most recent weekend from August 19th, we see Top Gun Maverick still holding very strong after 13 weekends in release. It hauled in almost another $6 million in its 13th weekend, beating out a lot of films that were also big releases from major studios and have been out for only a fraction of the time. So if we click through to see the total, we have crossed the $1.4 billion marker for its global haul, which is, again, just astonishing. Less than $17 million officially away from $700 million, which if it breaks that mark, and we are 99.999% sure at this point that it will look to take down Black Panther as the number 5 highest domestic grossing film of all time. Of course, that is unadjusted for inflation. And that's a big reason why it's not going straight on to Paramount Plus for you to watch at will as part of a free subscription or a $5 or $10 a month subscription for their ad-free tier. This is why they're going into premium video on demand. So you can watch this on streaming. You can get this on Apple's iTunes. You can get this on Amazon Prime, and you can get it for $20. Now, if you're wondering when the physical media sales will begin, well, that's November 1st. They've given those a lot more room because they want to get these early digital sales. I think Paramount is windowing this thing, a movie this successful. They are doing this right. Now, as a reminder, initially, Paramount had this slated for a 120-day theatrically exclusive release. Obviously, they have managed to negotiate this down to 90 days. Now, theaters are probably rathering that it would just be there for the next 30 days, but I don't think they mind too much the PVOD element because it does create a point of sale in terms of the movie has to be purchased again as opposed to catching it for free on a streaming service you already have a subscription to. Now, the big thing about this, though, is that they would have had to negotiate this with Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise was the one who was adamant about giving this a traditional 120-day window, which means Tom Cruise would have had to have gotten an extra little paycheck from Paramount in order to make this happen. How do we know this? Well, that's thanks to Puck.News or Puck Magazine and Matthew Baloney over there. We'll leave a link to this article in the video description below. But Matt Baloney, who was a former editor of The Hollywood Reporter, just to remind everybody, this guy is certainly in the know, and what we knew from this article was that Tom Cruise had one of the rare, still-around back-end deals where he got gross points on a film. Now, what do we mean by gross points? Now, when people think of gross points, a lot of times they think of the overall box office, the $1.4 billion that we just discussed. That's not what gross points are. Gross points are the actual dollars that are returned to the distributor, in this case, Paramount Studios or Paramount Distribution. Paramount would have gotten back probably on the order of 50 to 52% of this box office haul for two big reasons. They're getting the highest payout rates from theaters on Top Gun Maverick, number one, because of its stellar performance, and number two, and even more importantly, because it's been a traditional 90 to 120-day theatrically exclusive window. We know factually unequivocally from AMC's own financial reporting that they've done that AMC and other theaters, assuredly behind them as they are the biggest, have been penalizing studios for doing shortened theatrical windows of 45 days and then going straight to streaming services, or 30 days, or especially day and date. The shorter and less exclusive those theatrical windows are, the less theaters are paying back to distributors in rentals. When it comes to Top Gun Maverick, they weren't doing that. So that tells me that they're getting more of a traditional haul on this, of about 55 to 57% from the domestic side, and probably somewhere on the order of 45 to 46% on the international side, as international usually pays less. So given those facts, we can say pretty confidently that somewhere on the order of $700 to $750 million of the global box office haul has likely been returned back to the studio. And that is mainly because, once again, there was such an even split, roughly $700 million in international haul and almost $700 million in the domestic haul. That's going to put us right around 50%. So let's play it on the conservative side and say $700 million. So again, from the article, with a not astronomical production budget of $172.5 million and a prints and ads spend, that's the marketing, of more than $150 million, Paramount's break-even number on Top Gun Maverick is about $410, according directly to studio sources. Now, if people do some quick cursory math, they realize that, well, wait a minute, if I put 172.5 and about 150 plus, and let's say that's 150 plus is really about another 175, that's somewhere around 350. How do we get to 410? How do we get to a $410 million gross point, the money that returned back to the studio at this point? Well, we just said we know about $700 million in gross dollars from the rentals after the theaters take their cut have made it back to Paramount. Well, there's Tom Cruise's back-end deal, and that's how that break-even point got to 410. Because Tom Cruise, again, according to this article, had a whopping 10+% in a gross points deal with escalators, meaning that as the movie performed more and more, and as more money came into Paramount, that percentage of those gross points that Tom Cruise were to receive were going to go up. So if he started north of 10, and let's just call it 12, by the time this movie has reached $1.4 billion, it's potentially, at least conceivable, that his back end may be approaching somewhere around 14 to 15 points of those gross dollars. So at $700 million coming back in, he's probably pulled in at least 80 to 90 million, if not closer to around 110 to 120. And that doesn't include the $13.5 million that Tom Cruise was paid up front to be in the picture to begin with. So this guy is hauling home one heck of a paycheck from this film, and I think he deserves it. I think this film deserves it because everybody seems to love it. And make sure, if you want to check out Top Gun Maverick today at home, you can catch it on PVOD on Amazon Prime and iTunes and wherever else that you can buy a PVOD film in your preferred digital library. Good to see everybody out there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, do leave a comment before you head out the door today. Take care.